It says off. Hey.
Okay. Hi. How's it going? What's up, Mr. Camera? Yeah. So how you guys doing?
You talking to us?
Yeah. Who are you talking to?
I don't know. I'll just eat my Chinese food if you're all right. That's okay. Cool. Go.
Real quick, we were just talking about Mike playing bubble hockey. That was pretty fun, right? Did you guys have fun doing that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would prefer not to be seen playing bubble hockey in a dress shirt and dress pants.
How bad was it?
Well, the fan village in Toronto, near the Air Canada Centre, when Jillian and Eck were talking about bubble hockey, I thought it was like we were playing bubble hockey like the bubble hockey table that Eck has, like U.S. versus U.S. I didn't realize I was going to be Boris Mikhailov in this thing.
I thought we were playing actual bubble hockey.
I may or may not have miscommunicated to you guys that it was human bubble hockey.
I can say right now that you definitely miscommunicated.
Yeah, so you guys were inside like a bubble? That's awesome.
We were inside we were inside Thunderdome. We were just missing
like a big stick that rotates around. So you had to you have any pictures of it?
I have for my Snapchat.
See, the only bad thing about this game is when I used to play that kind of hockey, if a guy got a penalty, we used to just grab him and take him off the track, and he'd sit in the penalty box. You can't do that with Mike.
No.
Yeah, no, and a couple times I almost
not without a wench.
a couple times I almost butt-ended myself.
Bears with wedge you're talking about.
No, wench. Oh yeah.
Butt-ended yourself. That would have been good, actually.
A winch or a wench?
A wench.
Okay. Oh crap! Hold on, someone's calling me.
Okay, well,
Getting the hockey video for you guys on my.
Oh, what the heck was that?
Tea time.
Jesus Christ!
So let me give you guys the bubble hockey video here.
No, please, we don't want to see it.
No, it needs to be seen.
No, well, let's see it. Let's see it when it's. Here we go.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's. Is that right? Oh yeah, that gives you an idea.
Gives you this. There's nobody in there right now.
It's just giant things and sliding things. So you it's very hard. It's for a person like me who is so adept at stick handling.
It's just repeating the same 5 seconds over and over.
Yeah. So this is not. That's not the.
That's the wonder of Snapchat. That's cool.
That's how Snapchat works, buddy.
Yeah, right. Then you wonder why I'm not on it. Okay. Well, let's just before we get into the World Cup, which we'll probably talk about most of the time here. We've just got to share this news because I think it's significant for the Dallas Stars. We've talked.
Sorry, I think it looks a lot better now. Sorry. All right, never mind. All right, here we go. Sorry, go ahead.
We've talked off and on about Valeri Nichushkin, young player who's a restricted free agent, who's really talented, but just doesn't seem to be working out in Dallas, and how that the possibility of him going to the KHL with his contract not being resolved was out there. Well, his rights got traded to CSKA. Was it Moscow or St. Petersburg, Russ?
I think Moscow, but I'm not 100%.
Okay, because I think Petersburg is where Datsuk and Kovalchuk are, so I can't imagine that they could fit Nichushkin as well. But anyway, he was traded to CSKA, and there are reports coming out of Russia that he signed a 2-year deal. I think this is significant because I compared it to Alex Burmistrov with Winnipeg, because he left because Claude Noel was the coach there, and he didn't like Claude Noel. I don't know if there's any discontent between Lindy Ruff and Nichushkin, but it certainly appears that way based on Ruff's history in Buffalo. And if that's the case, this is a good young player who could be developing in the NHL, and instead, Russ, he's going back to Russia, and you don't know if you're ever going to get him back.
Yeah, the report is there's some discontent, and there's probably not a coincidence that his 2-year deal and Lindy Ruff's 2 years left on his deal sort of coincides, right? I mean, here's the funny thing. So when you retweet or you put this online, Dallas Stars fans are like, we gave him a chance. He didn't work out. And I look at things and I say, well, his ice time was down from his rookie year. So he was averaging like 13 and a half minutes of ice time. Some games he would get 9. Some games he would get 16. And you got to give this kind of guy 15 to 17 minutes of ice time a game if you want to get the most out of him. He's also a guy that analytics darlings happen to like because he does possess the puck a lot because he's a big, strong, fast guy, and he's hard to get the puck from. He mainly played on the second line. He sometimes played on the first line. He did get power play time, and yet, his 29 points was still up in the team leaders for 5-on-5 for even strength. And so it's easily easy to pursue a guy like this, but he's 21 years old. Yeah. You are now going to risk losing this guy for 2 years, 5 years, 7 years of the best years of his career because you couldn't find a spot for him. It's not like the Dallas Stars are a Stanley Cup team. They're a very good team. What the fear is of the fan base is Lindy is their best coach in X amount of years. They're finally making the playoffs, so they're like, whatever.
Hello, Hockey World. It's Monday, September 19th, 2016.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Dan Petru.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
I'm Jillian Fisher.
And I'm Eklund. And you're watching the Hockeybuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. And we've been talking about Valeri Nichushkin so far today. But we are talking to you live. Jillian and I at least are, well, we're all live. But Jillian and I are in Toronto still, where we're going to head over to see the enthralling version of the World Cup of Hockey, which includes Team Europe versus the Czechs. But this game actually is, although this game has been talked down a little bit about, this is a hugely important game for Team USA on all levels. Team USA needs needs the Czechs to beat Europe to make something happen here. But
no, I was doing the show.
What are your thoughts on?
That's okay.
So let's. So Dan, can I start with you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mike, mute rest.
Oh.
I'll be back.
Actually, no, now. It's done. The moment's over, Mike. You lost it. Anyway, let's get on to this. Dan, I want to kind of go through. We've seen all the teams play once, right? So I thought the good thing to do today would be to go like a general feeling of what we've got here. So, and let's kind of go through, because all the games happen on the weekend. Let's start from the beginning. So Europe and USA. Dan, why don't you start with USA? What are your thoughts on that?
How long do you have?
Yeah, I know. I know.
All right. Now, you guys know me quite well, and I have been beating this drum since, what, mid-June?
Yeah.
This team isn't good enough. It's that simple. They have the wrong coach. They're playing 1965 hockey. They have the wrong people picking the team. This team is a disgrace to the red, white, and blue. It is that simple. This team was built to win games in the NHL on a Tuesday in February,
right.
Not to take on the best in the world. Do you think for a second that Team Canada is losing sleep over the bottom six forwards of Team USA? Oh no, Justin Applicator might hit me. You think Joe Thornton cares about that? And I don't want to hear this crap about, this team was built in the image of 1996. You know who the grinders were in 1996? Bill Guerin, Keith Tkachuk, John LeClaire, over 1,000 goals in the NHL, and they're all borderline Hall of Famers. Where are the Hall of Famers in this roster?
Yeah, I liked it. That was good. And you know who wasn't born in 1996? Austin Matthews. So,
knowing Team USA, even if these kids were available on North America, they wouldn't have taken them because they're not torts players. Because they have, you can't leave your best players home. And I just don't believe that there's no room for Phil Kessel. There's no room for Tyler Johnson. I don't know what Bobby Ryan did to Team USA. I don't know if he stole somebody's money, but something happened along the line there. And you can't tell me there's no room for Shattenkirk. There's no room.
Hawk, Keith Yandel.
And how do you not start Dustin Byfuglien? He's the only game changer you have in the lineup.
I know. That was
I think most people are in agreement about this, though. I think, especially after seeing a game.
Well, the one thing that was puzzling is the fact, and Dan is right in terms of the roster being limited, but the fact that with the roster being limited as it is, and you have Patrick Kane as your one true scorer, you don't play him max minutes in the first period of the game against Team Europe. He has the least amount of ice time of any forward. So right. I don't know what Torts is trying to do. I know he's trying to generate this esprit de corps, this national pride baloney. But you know what? You need talent, and you need talent to win. And when you lose to Team Europe, who got their butts handed to them twice by Team North America in exhibition play, it's an embarrassment. So, I mean, I think a fire has to be lit under the rear ends of the players on Team USA. I believe Canada is the next game, and if they don't win that, they may as well just leave right now.
Too many slow pedestrians.
Yeah.
Jack Johnson, Brandon Dubinsky, David Backus, these guys are not worthy of being on this kind of team at this point in some of their careers.
Yes, 10 years ago maybe.
Yeah, so it's just
you're right.
Going with reputation. Torts is going with guys he likes, guys that will listen to him. And you know what? No one listened to him. And when are they going to score their first goal in the tournament? What if they go scoreless? What if they actually get shut out again and go scoreless? This would be the worst tournament in the history of hockey if that happened.
No. I thought, okay, I'm gonna reel it in here because someone has to. Okay, this is not as bad as everybody's making it out to be. You guys know that I'm with you on almost everything you've said, but
they're gonna beat Canada, right?
No. This is the thing.
Then it's bad.
No, they could beat Canada, and they really could. And the fact of the matter is, especially when you look at it, you know how hockey works. You've got, Canada killing a team and the U.S. losing is a perfect setup for the U.S. I mean, and this is now I'm not saying it's going to happen. And also you got to remember where this game is being played. It's being played in Toronto. I mean, the proud fan base is crazy. It's being Canada. And honestly, there are a couple things. Johnson over Stepan. Kevin Allen and I talked about this for a long time the other day. I think Johnson over Stepan. And I mean, Stepan had a better year last year, and that was their reasoning for this. But if you look at the playoffs performance from both these two, which really this is more of a playoff, right? You have to look at Tyler Johnson's been way better than Stepan in the playoffs.
Yes.
So that to me is one thing. Byfuglien, you've got to play on defense, and you got to play on defense. Playing on offense,
yes,
is pointless. I mean, it's totally pointless. We saw what he did in Canada. He drives people crazy. He makes the Tavarises and the Crosbys and those guys have to keep their head up when they come over the blue line. There's a little bit of fear factor when you're playing against Dustin Byfuglien. That's enormously important. You can't just expect Jonathan Quick to win this thing for you, which is sort of where you get the impression that they're doing.
And he's not playing his best either.
Corey Schneider, you can argue Corey Schneider is the best American goalie right now.
I think that it's a mistake that they didn't have Corey Schneider starting. I think he's out of all of this. I would.
That's not a knock on Quick either. He was hung out to dry.
We all think Schneider's better, but Schneider had that one bad game, and that's all you need to do with Torts. One off game.
That's a problem.
That is.
And at the same time, Quick. He played really well in that game.
He was overcommitting again. He was overcommitting.
Well, Russ, he had no chance in the first two goals.
Okay, but the third goal, which was the backbreaker, was soft. That was a soft goal. If you're
one that was deflected, where he was through a screen.
The one that went over his shoulder. Maybe it was the second goal. Could have had one of them.
Could have had that one. I don't think.
I mean, they gave up how many odd man rushes? They scored on a 2-on-1. They scored on a 2-on-none. I can't get on the goal here. It just. What drives me nuts about USA is they left all their puck possession at home. Their best puck moving defenseman they made a healthy scratch, and the way players are playing right now does not matter into their decision. You can argue who are two of the best players during the playoffs: Phil Kessel and Nick Bonino. You could put those two together in the third line.
Mm-hmm. Right, that would be a lot. No, I agree. There's I don't know. I haven't seen anything out of Dubinsky. I mean, there's certain players that just really are
the 4-minute. Major didn't tell you anything. I mean, it's a good thing he has character sitting in the box, right?
Brandon. The funniest thing about covering this is Torts is really trying to not explode. Like, you're watching this carefully, and in these press conferences, it's very funny. Like, I was sitting next to Larry Brooks, which is the greatest place to be in a Tortorella press conference.
Yes.
Right next to Larry Brooks, right? And I'm waiting, and Larry's like, oh, they're not even calling on me. I'm like, yeah, but then Tortorella, he's trying so hard to stay positive and not go off the deep end. But watch what happens if they lose to Canada or get shut out by Canada. I mean, you will see this explode. And listen, the one thing I think we have to throw in there, okay, on the side of this is Team Europe's pretty damn good. And I think that's being totally forgotten about. I think
they are pretty good, but not to the point where they're getting 2-on-0s, 3-on-2s.
USA gets shut out.
But they New Jersey deviled the USA team. They deviled the team. They sat back and they waited for the mistakes, and they
can skate. Well,
especially because Tortorella has this incredibly aggressive style. So you play aggressive style. They knew that the mistakes would come. They knew the turnovers would be there, right? So it
worked for one game, Eck. That first game, Canada was hitting them out.
The team that you're playing is definitely better than you. If the team you're playing is definitely better than you, then yeah.
I don't agree with that philosophy. If you play a rough and tumble,
they chased every game.
Wait. If you play a rough and tumble game, and it should work against anyone.
Right.
It should not work against just teams that are better than you. It should work against teams that you kick their butts. And I don't think they really stepped it up that much against Team Europe.
This whole tournament and hockey in general, I've always been a big believer of this, is a battle between attacking and counterattacking. That's what it is.
I agree with that. I just think that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen for a Team USA team, and I've been watching for a very long time.
No, it was completely without energy. Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
No, you can.
Completely without energy. And the thing that really got me, and I got a lot of heat for saying this, is I was really upset. That there was no after whistles. Like, there was no Like after whistle, and they never crash the net. Let's remember Halak. Okay, Halak's thing is this. Remember the year Halak just killed it in the NHL? He took out Pittsburgh, he took out Washington, and then he got to Philly, right? And Philly and Hitchcock said to me right before, he's like, this is simple. Washington and Pittsburgh didn't crash the net on Halak. If you crash the net on Halak, you're going to be fine. You have to get in his face. You have to create a small goalie. You crash the net, you'll be okay. And at the end, so the Flyers, they took out the Canadiens that year, and they ended up going to the finals, right? Pittsburgh and Washington, and what happens is the skilled teams, when the teams think they're more skilled, like the U.S. thinks they're more skilled, they stopped. They didn't crash the net. They didn't go after him. And Halak, just got stronger and stronger and stronger. But in that game, I think the USA had like 2 good opportunities, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Even though they outshot them 35-17, there were 10 good chances for Team Europe.
But here's the coaching thing too. So at the end of the game, I want to say there was 2 minutes left. You're down by 3 goals, and Ryan McDonough's out on the ice. And maybe even Stepan, and I'm thinking, these are not the guys that are going to bring you back. Right. And these are guys that Torts is just comfortable with, and you can't coach that way.
Well, and also the fact that you have 3 players, and I know Kessler is a fine defensive forward, but you have 3 players.
10 years ago he was.
Yeah, he's not as good as he
still is. But you have
he's
3
okay.
Players, Kessler, Dubinsky, and Abdelkader. And their complete role with that team is to be professional crap disturbers. And they did that against Canada. Dubinsky has Sidney Crosby's number in terms of getting underneath his skin. Kessler does that with. The thing is, they can do that with everybody. It's not exclusive to just Sidney Crosby or not exclusive to just Shea Weber. Those players have to play that way all the time. Otherwise, they're useless.
I wanted to break my TV when I saw Torts had Max Pacioretty set up for one-timers on the power play. I'm thinking, this is what you want out of like a 6 foot, 215, 20-pound guy? You want him shooting one-timers? What the hell is wrong with him?
Oshie on every first power play unit? That doesn't make any sense. Jillian.
There was somebody who follows us on Twitter brought up a good point. Looking forward with Team USA is that it could be a blessing in disguise. Fire the right people, move ahead. So there is something that you can look at looking forward with it. You look, there always is a silver lining. And
so 12 years from now, when they had the next one, we'll feel better about it.
So I didn't know Mike Sullivan followed us on Twitter.
Yeah. It's a good point, though. I mean, we've all been complaining about what's happening now.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot going forward. We have a lot of great – look at Team North America. There are a lot of skilled young players for Team USA that if done right, this team could – going forward, we could have a really great team.
Okay, so the best thing Team USA has going for them is that some of the guys will be 24 in the next tournament and can't
not
play
all of them.
for Team North America.
Not Dylan Larkin and not
Larkin, Eichel, or Matthews.
Let's get into that for a second because, it was last night, we're watching what I think might be the best line in the tournament. So let's jump to North America for a second. But I really do again want to say that Team Europe is way underrated. They're going to be a problem. They're not going away. I was really tempted to pick them as a finalist with Canada. I don't think that was an upset. I think Europe and the USA are pretty close. As far as this USA team,
did you pick Team Europe and DraftKings? Did you take?
No, you can't do DraftKings for this. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, so but let's move on to Team North America, okay? Who has maybe what I think is the best line in the tournament, which is McDavid, Eichel, and Matthews. Okay,
that's not the line.
That's not the line.
They were playing together sometimes last night.
No, it's on the power play. The line is McDavid, Matthews, and Mark Scheifele.
Right,
that's the number 1 line.
I get that. And you might be right, guys. So you look at these things and you do say, okay, 2 of those 4 players you just mentioned are Americans. 2 of them would be on the, they wouldn't have put Matthews on the team.
Nope.
But 2 years from now in the Olympics, they will be on the team. So you'll have
taken Eichel.
They will take Eichel 2 years from now. They will take 2 years from now. They will take Washington 2 years from now. They'll take Matthews. No, I think they will. I mean, I've talked to people, and I think they will. So that's now, the question is, let's talk about Team North America for a second. Let's get on to something a little bit more positive.
All right.
This team, I mean, when was the last time Finland was blown out in a tournament? Like that was the crazy thing. I mean, that game was way a bigger blowout than it even appeared. I mean, remember 2 pucks stopped in the goal line in the first period.
Oh, yeah.
It should have been 3-0. And I was surprised because I thought Finland was going to be a team, and I still think there's a chance that they could be a team that advances to the next round. But the most impressive thing about Team North America yesterday was the fact that after they got up 4-0, they were playing effective two-way. They were not allowing Finland to get back in the game. They were resisting against Finland's forecheck. I mean, guys like Komarov were trying to run people, and they were not responding or not standing up to them physically, and that was a good thing. They got phenomenal goaltending from Matt Murray. So, I mean, I think that, the people who predicted that North America will advance, they're looking good right now. And if they beat Russia tonight, they will advance. I mean, it'll be 2-0. Worst they can be is 2-1. I think that
they'll advance. Because
also, can we talk about? I loved the way I was worried about how the jerseys would look from the stands. It looked really sexy to have the blue with the white and gray. I thought it would look really. They obviously had that in mind when they were designing the colors, but did it look as good on TV as it did in person?
No, it looked good. It looked good. I liked it.
Yeah, if the Stormtroopers had jerseys, they would look like that. They're nice. No, they kind of have a Star Wars kind of like feel to them.
Yeah.
They came from the future. I said that to somebody. Like this is a team that's coming because they have that futuristic.
Yeah.
Even the numbers on the back are like it's the old Simpsons joke. That like Epcot Center is what people in 1970 thought 2002 would look like.
Right.
Yeah. So playing the role of Boba Fett is.
But here's something you wouldn't have gotten because you guys were at the game. So we're watching ESPN, and they kept pushing the envelope on Patrick Laine. They said he's got as good a shot as Ovechkin, maybe as Stamkos. He's probably going to score 30 goals in his rookie year. And every time Austin Matthews made a play, they ignored it. And it was really kind of crazy that this was like the pregame chatter. Yeah. We got to really pump Laine because we spoke to a scout who thinks he's like the next Ovechkin. And I got to tell you something. Nobody has the shot of Ovechkin. Nobody has the shot of Stamkos. Like, this is something where I was gasping hearing some of the things I heard.
Why not push Matthews when Matthews is American? I'm sorry, you're trying to.
Mike, you heard it.
Right?
I think it's the typical ESPN overcompensation because
I know what you're going to say.
Go ahead.
I just think they don't know who anyone else on the roster is, so they just went with that.
Got it. Dan's got it. The thing is, that team is totally indescript. And Laine has personality. He skates with flair. He plays with flair.
He has swag.
Matthews has an awesome story. That's
but Matthews
no. What he's saying is they don't know anybody else on Team Finland. It's like
Finland's very indescript.
Right. There's no one else. You're going to talk about Team Finland.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to go like the that is Mikko Koivu. I mean, you're not. It's like that's not going to happen. It's just he's a great player, but that's not. There's no sectionist to that.
It's like the old Bob Costas story that he told about early in his career, where he didn't know any player on the team that he was broadcasting. So there was one player on the team that he picked out and said that guy's going to have the greatest game of his life because I don't know anybody else. And that's the way ESPN was treating it.
Finland's very nondescript though. They're a blue collar team.
They always have been.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, Dan. You and I and Russ and Ack and Jillian know players on Team Finland. They're a very talented team. They've been successful internationally for the last few years. But I just think that the way ESPN approached it, they were putting it out that Laine is the next golden god. And I think he's going to be a fine player, but don't ignore the guy who's picked a pick ahead of him and who arguably was the best forward on the ice, except maybe Connor McDavid last.
And Sebastian Aho was killing it, and they only would mention him when he was killing it.
Right.
I mean, we talk all this narrative though, but I actually think that Laine is going to score 30 goals this year and have a better season than Matthews.
That's fine.
I mean, I actually don't.
Dave's like, I'm hiding. I don't want these.
And you guys know that I'm a Laine guy too. So
I like Laine.
I'm not saying it's unfair to say he's
because look who's going to be playing. You have to look who he's going to be playing with too.
Yeah, right.
Rookies rarely score 30 goals. Just remember that.
One game in this.
No, they don't. Ross, come on. We can go back year. Come on.
Name me the last rookie that scored 30 goals.
Season. So the one thing I will say is everybody that I saw with all of these players who haven't played in the NHL yet, going crazy over them. Just wait. Let them play a full season. Let them play in the NHL for one season, and then let's start really talking because it's really hard when you have one game in an international tournament.
And I think Laine is going to be a really good player. But I mean, the thing is that in Winnipeg he's probably going to play with Brian Little as his center. And maybe Blake Wheeler, and he'll get opportunities. But 30 goals is, in this league especially, is mighty damn tough. And I have never said that Austin Matthews is going to score 30 goals in Toronto, but I do say that Austin Matthews is probably going to be a better player than Patrick Laine because he's a center, he plays two-way, and I think he's equally offensively talented. So I just think that ESPN, and I like John Buccigross, and I like all their broadcasters. I just thought that there was an agenda being sold last night that all of a sudden Patrick Laine is the next god, and this Austin Matthews guy is like, okay, well, I think I've heard of him, but I don't know that much about him. Well, he's the guy who made that first goal possible.
Yeah, no, he did. I mean, there was a really good quote, I don't know if you guys saw this, about North America, about Johnny Gaudreau, who was just incredibly impressive last night.
He was.
And that tip was, you're just not going to see tips like that every day. I mean, that tip was, there's 10 feet behind him. He's pulling it in, he's tipping it behind his back. I mean, it's like, Harlem Globetrotters-esque type stuff. And, that for the young people, that's basketball team.
They still exist. They still exist.
They do, yeah.
So then Patrick Kane afterwards said something which is really interesting, where he came out and said, Johnny Gaudreau is amazing. He said, he does things I wish I could do.
Patrick, show up in big games?
Not be a -2. I think that he that was an impressive thing coming from Patrick Kane, and
sure.
There's no question. Like we talked about the quote. I asked the question last week, can Johnny Gaudreau be as good as Patrick Kane? You don't think he can be. I think he could be, or at least I think Mike and Russ said no. But I think
he's below that. He's not that far below, but he's a little below.
I think they're different players.
Just
because they're small, I don't think you can compare them. Gaudreau reminds me more of a guy who is. She's a shooter. Like Kane is a complete playmaker. He's looking to pass first, whereas Gaudreau's looking to finish.
Yeah, Gaudreau might be a little bit sneakier than Patrick Kane, but
he's flashier in games. Kane doesn't tend to get flashy in games. He just tends to get the job done. He's been doing that since juniors. There's a different sort of look there, but I think look, we're splitting hairs, but I think Kane is better. But it's not like that makes Gaudreau bad. He's a heck of a player. He's a great player.
Yeah, that definitely is. All right, so let's move on to Sweden, Russia next. Okay, because that was a first of all, Julian was at the game too. That was a really interesting building to be in. That was the first time that it felt like the Olympics to me. That's the only time it's kind of felt like the Olympics, because it had that really, like, you had people whistling instead of booing.
The one thing I didn't like though is that I don't know what happened or why they didn't do it, but why didn't they sell tickets by section in some way? Like, why not just sell like a couple, like even freaking Frozen Fenway with BU, like Boston College, Boston University, they sell them you have some sections where you can go and click that I want to sit with, the Sweden fans, or I want to sit with, you can have them all. I don't know why that'd be so hard to do.
Because they were more concerned with actually selling tickets, because that's been a big
the tickets were sold. That's the thing.
I was shocked though, and I think they were shocked too about how many Swedes there.
You could have had one section completely full for Sweden, one full section.
Oh yeah, you could have. No, and it was kind of funny to watch.
And for Russia too. I'm sorry.
To watch them next to each other was kind of funny though, because they are so different the way they project their cheering.
Yeah.
Like, the Swedes are off the charts, with the Viking helmets and all the crazy, fun stuff like that, and the Russians are very reserved. But the chants back and forth in their home languages, that was that was really cool. It had a real soccer feel to it.
Well, the funny thing was, Zach, because I was in Toronto yesterday and I dropped you off at the ACC, and 5 seconds after I pulled away, it came over the radio that Lundqvist was not playing.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh God, Russia's going to destroy them. And Markstrom played really well. If it wasn't, I was surprised at that, because I think he's a good goaltender, but I don't think he's at the level or will ever be at the level of Lundqvist. But he stepped up, and that team really didn't allow a lot of offensive chances, but he made the saves when he needed to make them. But again, the Russians, I don't know what it is about international hockey and the Russians, but they just don't show up, and they haven't been.
They play uptight. They don't play with any desperation in there because they're afraid of making mistakes. They've got so much talent that they pass way too much. They
stop playing as a team too. You know that?
Oh yeah, but they try. Like in the last 5 minutes of the game, I counted it was crazy. We saw at one point Ovechkin, then
Panarin,
St. Louis's
Tarasenko,
Ovechkin, Panarin, and one other player. all had the puck on their stick between the faceoff circles in front of the goalie, and all passed it off. Like when you're in that spot there, you got to take shots. You guys are, and even Ovechkin's goal was like it was more of a shot that he put on net to be directed.
Right.
It got through. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, they were helping Sweden out a lot by passing off plays.
They were. I got to ask you though, how was the Lundqvist thing playing out? Because here's the story that we hear. So 2.5 hours before the game, he was named the starter. Then 90 minutes before the game, he was no longer the starter. And then shortly after that, they sent him back to the hotel. Darren Pang said today on Sports Central that he never missed a game due to illness, which I thought was odd for him to just sort of volunteer that. And then Lundqvist is practicing today. So it does give you a mixed feeling about what's really going on with him, or is it still the ribs and they just don't want to say it so the Rangers don't go crazy?
It might be the ribs. It does come back to what Marty Biron said a couple times, which I totally agree with, that we talked about before, is that Lundqvist is like this fine-tuned machine, and if things aren't perfect for him, he's not okay, and if things are perfect for him, he's going to dominate. But if it's not perfect, I think he looked at this like, I don't want to go. Did he not chicken out, but kind of like say, okay, I'm going to play. I'm not 100%. I'm going against Russia. I don't want to be the reason that we lose this tournament. Because that game was the big game for Sweden in the first round. I mean, that was the game that they had to win, in my opinion, right? That was their Canada. They had to beat Sweden. They know they can beat Finland if they want. They who knows what's going to happen with North America. But
I've seen Lundqvist play under the weather. Like I've seen him after a game where he said, "Yes, I'm sick," but he played
before the game. That's the thing with him. Yeah, he'll play through, but before the game, it feels like at least what Biron has said is that if before the game he's not. If something isn't aligning in the stars, he gets crazy, and I think the Swedes may have seen him getting crazy and said, "Listen, just go home."
Okay.
I think that's the impression I got. I don't.
Whereas Markstrom's like a coffee table from IKEA. He's not. He's dependable.
Markstrom still has a lot of talent. It's not like we should push aside Markstrom. He's still one of 60 guys that are highly specialized in the world. Even a backup goalie in the NHL is pretty great.
His chest protector is a coffee table from IKEA. I mean, he is like this. When you talk about smaller goalie equipment.
Uh-oh.
No.
Did we lose him?
No. Okay, he's back.
This chest protector is huge, and it's amplified by the fact that I think he's afraid that it's so big that he wears like a tighter jersey than most goalies.
Either that or he's been eating too much poutine in Toronto in the last couple weeks.
Wearing a pillow. Sorry. Did you lose us?
No, for a second, but you're back.
Yeah, you got the gist of what I was saying. It was kind of crazy. Markstrom's uniform and his chest protector was just like, holy cow, that's not so. He did play well. He did play well. The defense played well. Victor Hedman was a monster in that game. And brought it again. Is he the best defenseman? I think he is.
But they might have the best defense of the whole tournament.
Oh, I think they do.
They might have the best defense, but I think the best defenseman in the tournament is Aaron Ekblad. And I've thought it all along, and no one's saying it, but he is.
It's fair. He was awesome last night.
He has neutralized everybody.
And I'm not saying he's the best defenseman in the tournament, Russ. I wouldn't go that way. But that pairing. It's not, when you're playing with a talent like Ekblad, sometimes it makes it look easy. It's the Matt Carl situation. You're playing with Chris Pronger, so you look better than you actually are. But Morgan Riley has really, I think, has impressed a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
boys, and his ability to rush into the zone. But anyway, that team, overall, that team is just extremely impressive. But the thing you look at right now in that division, you've got the next game is North America Russia. North America wins. And then if Sweden beats Finland, which is easier said than done because those two countries hate each other.
Yeah, anything's possible there.
But you're basically North America and Sweden would play on Wednesday to basically avoid playing Canada in the medal round.
Right.
I think that if North America wins the division, like if they win the bracket, they will go to the final. Because they'll take out whoever's second in the other.
Well, I will say this. John Shannon did come back on his statement that they will not win a game because he has to, right? To saying now that he thinks they can make it to at least the semifinals. I think they're going to make it the whole way. I do.
Did someone else say that too?
Oh, damn, we got your USB thing.
Yeah.
So someone else has said it, and might have been you, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. Unplug and plug in.
No, not to not win a game. I don't think we didn't have anybody saying they weren't.
No. My friend Jeff Merrick has said on more than one occasion he didn't think North America was going to win a game.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I picked Team North America to get.
But I can see the point of view.
But I stand by my decision to get silver.
I could understand that. I could understand that point of view because you had 3 veteran teams in Russia, Sweden, and Finland, and the expectation was that Team North America, when it got down to games that counted, would maybe wilt a little bit under like more the pressure. But there was no wilting at all last night.
In the full tournament, I could see that happening.
And here's the thing. No one's hit them yet. All right.
No. Leo Komarov.
Finland hit them, and they bounced right off of them.
Leo Komarov was killing them.
They waited till they were out of it. I mean, there wasn't like Russia will come out at them tonight.
I think you saw the response from Team North America the last 10 minutes of the game when Finland tried to hit them. They bounced off of them, and Larkin wanted to fight Vatanen. It was good. I think the response from Team North America was good.
The other thing that's getting overlooked is everybody wants to talk about Carey Price, but Matt Murray is just as good and might be the best goalie in the tournament. I'm going to say it again because nobody seems to give him credit.
Matt playing with that kind of confidence, and that confidence is helping that whole team be. Yeah. Because it's such an offensive minded team that when they don't have to think about the goaltending, it's like a huge deal. So they can completely. They're not worried about the goaltending. If they were worried they were going to make a mistake, that could change things drastically. But not this team. They're not worried about anything.
Matt Murray made a save on, I think it was on Laurie Korpikoski. It was a partial breakaway, and it was like a shot from the boards. He handled it so easily.
It was like he did it in practice. He just fleed it off.
Right. It was
relaxed. The thing about him, he is so relaxed.
Yeah.
He mellows the whole team down. He calms young defenses. He knows when to hold the puck, when to get a face-off if he feels the team's running around. He does a lot of these little things that just completely dictate. Helps the defense dictate the game.
You have teams with North America. You look at this roster. You have kids with tons of international experience. You have World Championship experience, World Junior experience, Memorial Cup winners, NCAA winners, Hobie Baker finalists and winners, Stanley Cup champions on this roster. These kids are not scared.
Right. No, and I think the smartest thing that coaching staff did was they put together. We talked about this last week. They put together Drouin and Nathan McKinnon, who have played together.
Yep.
They put together Matthews and Eichel on the power play, who had played internationally together. They put Matthews and McDavid because the skill set, and even McDavid said after the game yesterday, we think the game the same way. So it fit together. They put their players together that complement each other, and it's working.
Well, and the goal that Drouin scored, you can't teach someone that kind of goal. That's amazing balance and hands to be able to get all that straight and get it in the corner in a short amount of time.
Right.
Go ahead.
Go through this list. Okay, there's some interesting things about these players. I'm going to list some of these players. And honestly, this young team, the players I'm about to list could arguably be called the best players on their team. This is the crazy thing. So, that's what I was noticing when I was going through this. Jack Eichel, he's the best player on his team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Johnny Gaudreau, best player on his team.
I think
Monahan.
Yeah.
I'll take Gaudreau.
Dylan Larkin.
Yes.
He's getting there. He is.
Yes. Who?
Nathan McKinnon.
Yes.
Right. Austin Matthews.
Yes.
Yes.
Connor McDavid.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So then you go, and then you go down to
Aaron Ekblad.
Yes.
Jane Gostisbehere, arguably.
Short best defenseman on his team.
Yeah. Giroux. Morgan Riley's the
best player. Voracek's better too.
Okay.
Morgan Riley's the best defenseman on the
league. If you think about it, he's still in that top list. When you think of your top 3 best players, I would put it.
At the moment, he is. Although he showed some warts on defense, he did.
He's always going to show warts on defense.
I know,
but what he does on offense is so special. Who cares?
But it hasn't been so special in this tournament, and that's my point.
It's been one game.
Well, I'm just saying, if he's not giving you that offense, you do have to watch where you have him. You do.
Okay, Torts.
I think
this team also has the most number 1 overall draft picks and most, top 10 draft picks out of every team in the tournament.
Yeah.
So they literally have the most talented team when you think about it that way, when you're thinking about just drafting.
Yeah, but that's logical, rational thinking, right? But for whatever reason, a lot of people in the media turned it a different way, like, well, they're just kids and they're not, they're not experienced and it's not going to do anything for them. And then all of a sudden, they smack a team in the mouth and it's like, maybe they really are that good.
We all talked about them individually about how good they were. Think about how good they need to
We all talked about Aaron Ekblad stepping in the NHL at 18 years old and having the mentality and the maturity of a 40-year-old. I mean,
so why should we be surprised now?
Yeah, why exactly? I mean,
the under 23, under 20, they're a 23 and under team or whatever. But the average age of this team is 21. 21.7, and even though it's 21.7, when you look at it, the average amount of games played on this team per player is 154. So you're basically looking at players entering their third year of the NHL.
And I have to say that the players that are the most impressive on the teams are the ones that are the youngest. I mean, the Brandon Sodds.
He's a role player on this team.
Sean Couturier's. I mean, yeah, the role players. The star power are the 18 and the 19-year-old.
Here's something else.
Mark Tyson's another one who could arguably be called the best player in the team too, by the way. So
here's another one that I think fans want to see. We saw that on a breakaway, Lauri Korpikoski was going like 23 miles per hour, right? And if you remember on an old show, I said Bobby Hull went, and I just looked it up, like 29.7. Why am I not knowing what Connor McDavid's doing or Austin Matthews or TJ Oshie, some of the fastest skaters in the league? Why did you show me that for Lauri Korpikoski? Show me that for the real elite players.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan Larkin, there was one moment, and I think that this is what was interesting about Dylan Larkin's game last night. He had sort of been under the radar in this tournament to me for the most part.
He's playing a role.
Until he got hit by Patrick Laine last night.
Yeah.
And the second he got hit by Patrick Laine, Dylan Larkin became a factor. He was everywhere, and all the way, like he got pissed. He's one of those guys who's got to get pissed off to really make a difference. He was out there, and he suddenly made a huge difference being pissed off. And there was one point at which he and Laine were neck and neck, and they were, and Larkin was trying to move in to get. He basically got like a quasi breakaway. And they were here's Laine, considered one of the best skaters, incredible player. Larkin pulled away from him like he was standing still, and really, I mean, that's obviously Dylan Larkin's one of the fastest players in the league. Probably
after the first period where he was being mentioned just for being mentioned, Laine had to get mentioned again for actually doing something, so that's why he took a run.
No, I think he was. I think he was the first person to hit them, right? And that was it was. And the game was already over at that point.
No, Komarov hit Ekblad. That was the first hit.
It didn't. I don't know.
Here's the one thing I noticed about Larkin, and I think you're right, Ek. I think that did ratchet up his game because he is a competitor and he does that. But he's also been asked to play a role because we're talking about so many offensive players that he is one of the few that does everything. And I think that's part of what he's being asked to do on this team too.
Another moment that was very impressive last night for me was the coach of Finland. Because there's part of me that was thinking about this, that was talking about it to Jillian after the game, that this tournament is in a way breaking down the fourth wall of international hockey in some ways, in a strange, because you're seeing this, and I don't know if that makes sense how I'm saying it, but you're seeing these teams that have always been, Finland is Finland, and Sweden. And now they're suddenly facing a team that's not a country in North America, and it's North American. And that is a bit, and they're getting beaten by them badly. So it's like, okay. It's like if Team Finland had gone and played the Chicago Blackhawks, what would happen? Whatever. So you get this. Finland is great when they're playing against other countries. Now suddenly they're playing against just a team that's put together. And I thought that maybe they would have trouble with that and then be like, it kind of sucks in a way that we're doing. But the coach of the team was like, listen, it was so much fun to play against them. All the credit in the world. That's a hell of a team. What a great challenge it is. What a great – he was he was very impressive. I thought the Finnish coach was really –
Well, I mean, part of the dynamic for Finland is always, their own sort of team camaraderie and national pride because, I mean, they work themselves up to play Russia because, Russia's a country that invaded them a few times.
Yeah.
It's about styles, too. It is. Like Finland played their game. The problem is if you're going to play that game, you have to be of equal or greater speed than the team you're playing against, and they weren't. And because they weren't, it didn't work at all against North America because they couldn't do it. They couldn't control the puck. They couldn't possess the puck. They couldn't keep it in the corners. They couldn't slow it down. Now, they might be able to do that against Russia, against certain lines against Russia. They probably will. And that's what will probably make them dangerous is, yes, against some opponents, they're not going to be as great, and against others, they'll probably be better than you think.
I have to bring this up before Dan has to leave here because Tortorella is having a press availability, or did earlier this morning, and according to, he's talking about the Canada-U.S. game, which is coming up tomorrow. He says, it's going to be a blast playing there, meaning Toronto, against them. Everybody wants us knocked out. Let's just play the damn game.
Yeah. No, that's
He's working that David versus Goliath, us against the world thing, and I mean, maybe it works, but
if that's what you got to do right now, come on.
Hey, at least he didn't go with "we know what they did" and just keep saying that, and then obviously everybody wants to know what they did, and he won't say it. So at least he's not going that route. At least
We do have to get going pretty soon here as well. We're going to end it too, but because we got to get the cab downtown, but to get to that Czech Europe game. The only thing the teams we haven't mentioned really, we talked a little bit about the Czechs. I mean, they're up against it, obviously. They're not. This is going to be a good game. I think they're going to, if they get good goaltending. I mean, that was the Canada just rolled on them.
I mean, Neuwirth made a great stop on Crosby on a breakaway, but otherwise he has no defense.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not getting a lot of help. And Canada, it's exactly what we expected from Canada.
Right. What makes him so good is the way he scores that first goal. That's Crosby realizing that you got a goalie who's hot, so I'm going to throw the puck at him from behind the net. And that's, and the first 5 minutes of that game, the two things that I wanted to happen for the Czechs happened, and I was so excited for them. Neuwirth makes that great save on Crosby, and for the first time in 2 years, Voracek takes a puck end to end. And I mean, just what we see, why Voracek got his $8 million contract. He makes that play and almost scores on that. So
he's not allowed to do that in Philly.
I know. So it was with the new coach, he's not. So that was huge. I think that we're going to see. I think it's going to be fascinating. Little predictions today. I think the Czechs have a good shot against Team Europe. But if Team Europe takes this, Team Europe's in. If they take this game,
I think Europe's winning. I'm taking Europe.
If Team Europe wins, the inventors of the World Cup of Hockey are beating their head against the wall.
Right. And for crying out loud, get the play an anthem of somebody for them. It's just ridiculous that they don't.
I know.
Especially because now they're the only ones that don't have any.
The final countdown by Europe. It's just perfect.
Team North America gets 2 anthems. It's like they don't get any. Especially
because we've been making such a big deal about anthems recently.
Yeah.
So they obviously are important. So they should try to do something.
Yeah, and take the play. If nothing else, take the first star from their last game. All right, play Slovakia's anthem this game and play.
Or you could play all 9 at once.
We'll see about that. All right, so remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. We'll talk to you soon.